Hello, welcome back. Are you well? A subscriber challenged me to a challenge. Build a tank or a World War II tank. That was from Golden Man Studios. Okay, I thought I can do this. Now bear in mind this was 48 hours ago. Let's start scratching that build. Okay, so hopefully this will be a short video. Santa's slow dog, I do believe I got that word in correctly. This was challenge was sent to me by Golden Man Studios, totally out of the blue, totally unexpected, and it was basically, the brief was make a tank or a World War II tank. So I didn't make a World War II tank, I made a tank, but I made a tank for Warhammer 4000 or 40k, or whichever you say, or how you say it. And as you can tell, I'm fully versed in the Warhammer 40k universe and know everything about it, which is nothing. But that didn't stop me. I knew I was going to build a tank, and the proper painting was going to come into effect. I was going to channel my innermost Bob Ross to do this tank correctly. And boy, did it take ages. So I rooted around in my Greebly box, found a toy car that was feeling sad and lonely and needed a facelift, and decided to use that as the base for the tank. And I know what you're not thinking next. Oh, he's using hot glue. Well, I'm using hot glue, going to set that down and then go back in with some proper super glue, just to give it that extra bit of grip. That white thing is an offcut from polystyrene that I'm just going to use for the wheels. Just going to mark out some sort of like track sort of well, thing. Cut two of them out, sand them down, and then I'll eventually glue them to the side. I realised these were looking kind of anorexic and thin, so I doubled up on the side bits and just traced out another two and then glued them together, just so then I'll be able to get some track on the edging. You'll understand what I'm saying when you see the finished product. Well, you've already seen the finished product because you've seen it in the banner. Oh, I give up with this stuff. So I glued A to B, then B to E, and then A and B to F, and then, look, anyway, I'm going to glue them all together eventually. I'm just sanding them down, like I said, just so then I can get some EVA foam. I'm going to use EVA foam for the tracks, just going to cut them into little squares and then dot them around to look like tank tracks. And here is the said EVA foam. I love this stuff, use it a lot in my builds. I'm just going to cut them into little tiny strips and then cut them into even more tinier strips. Yeah, enough said with that, move on. So for padding and for time, I'll just show you the quick little bits that I cut up and put them all into a cup, only to tip them back out so I can stick them on the tank tracks using hot glue because it was a lot easier. And yeah, so just spent an hour doing that. Really it was an hour. So once I'd done all the tracks on the polystyrene, it was then thinking, what am I going to use for the wheels, and just broke out various model kits and just stuck various tank wheels onto the actual polystyrene using super glue. I know some polystyrene doesn't take with super glue. This one, I'd already tested it in a previous build, and yeah, it does, just as long as you keep a window, a door open, because it does give off a vapour. And yes, I was using a mask. I found a random box, don't ask me where it's from or what it was for, I've no idea, totally random. I'm going to use that just to start bulking out the main body of the tank now. Then the question of how am I going to build up the tank. Could have used EVA, foam, but thought no, that's already been done, and decided to go with the tried and tested of cutting up a load of old boring tank bits and pieces from kits and just randomly sticking them on and, well, see what sort of fits. That is a lid for a laundry bottle. The other half thinks she dropped it and it rattled round to the back of the washing machine. It actually rattled round to my feet, where I quickly scooped it up like a hawk or a magpie and used it for this build. It was perfect as the turret. Then from there on it was just a matter of just sticking various bits of pieces of the tank bits, body, that sort of stuff, just all around the tank, all the while making sure that the wheels had enough space to fit on the sides. Now, something happened during this build and I broke my clippers, and this is where you guys can come in. I've recently started a Patreon page, and for as little as a coffee, which is what, €3, £3 a month, you could join Patreon and we can sort of like build a community together that can start sort of, you want me to throw in a random word into some sort of video, then I will do, and we can set off and do different challenges for each other and, you know, that sort of stuff. So if you want to check out my Patreon page, if you're new here, like, subscribe, share. I don't understand what the sharing bit is, but hey, never mind. But yeah, so do all that and let's start building a little Terrain by Aaron community. Shameless plug over, let's get back to the build. I was looking for a bigger gun than what I had on that little thing there, and decided that this pen, it had run out of the ink and it served me well, gonna miss it, but I decided to repurpose the one of the, I think it was the lid or the actual pen holder. Just gonna drill some holes, or try and drill some holes in, because I'm using the world's worst Dremel and this bloody thing got stuck yet again. Gonna have to replace that again soon. Just made holes in the top, just where the, I think it's called the breaker. I don't know if there's any John Wick fans out there that knows all about guns. Let me know in the comments what that bit is, but I know when I used to play Call of Duty, I used to put an attachment on the front of my sniper rifle, and I remember one had like slits and holes in. So anyway, rambling, let's move back to the build. So now that all my gun turrets were on, I was happy with what it was looking like. It went off for a black prime. I didn't glue the wheels on yet because I needed to do my painting, which is the Bob Ross section next. And yeah, I'm going to talk you through each piece, and I'm pretty sure Morrigan's Creations is going to be happy boy when he sees what I did with this, hopefully. So to start off, I tackled the simple bit of just applying black acrylic paint onto the wheels. And they're going to be easy. They're just going to have a black acrylic paint and then a dry brush of silver, and possibly a little sprinkle of dry brush of white afterwards. But that was that for the wheels, really. Then I just wanted to check I hadn't stuffed anything up in the priming stage, and just wanted to make sure that the wheels would still fit. Yep, they still fit. Looks good so far, even if I do say so myself, which I don't often praise myself. But yeah, no, let's get on with this painting now. We've had enough of these glamour shots, come on. So at this point I'd taken a break, had 2 cups of coffee, so I was fueled up with caffeine, and decided to put my big boy pants on and let's do some painting, Bob Ross style. So to kick off, I'm using silver and a dark brown that I'm going to mix together to make dark silver. Yeah, Okay, that's original. So this dark silver is going to be the base coat, and I'm just going to paint everything silver. Next, I did a darker silver and just painted the bottom bits of the entire tank. So each plate I just painted the bottom bits. I've just said that, so yeah, move on. Apparently this is all part of the painting process of layering your paints. So then what I did was I went all over it with silver again. I know I'm going to get there with some paint, trust me. You've got to trust the process. I didn't trust the process, but I went with this process. So what I'm doing now is just doing all the high points with a light silver. So I've done the low points with the dark silver, high points with a high silver. Hi-ho silver, away we go. And then I covered the entire model with a black wash. Yep, I don't know, I'm not a painter. I'm just trying to do things differently. Trying to learn some sort of technique. So yeah, so everything got covered in a black wash. And then in between all these I was drying them with my hairdryer. If anybody remembers Jeff the hairdryer from some of my old videos, he's still around, still doing well. So he helped me dry everything so I could speed this process on. Anyway, let's move on. Now we're getting somewhere. I've got red, orange and brown, and what I'm going to do is make a dark red and just going to paint all the panels. Just going to leave the edge in silver, but the main bit in the middle, this is hard to describe, but it's I'm just going to paint all the panels but leave the silver around the edging. That's basically what I'm going to do. So I'm not technically painting, I'm stabbing the paint on in the middle and then just working slowly towards the edges, but leaving the edges. So I did this for the entire model. Is it a model? More a scratch build? Scratch build. I did this for the entire scratch build. And once the entire scratch build was done, I then went on the high bits with just a normal red, a lighter red. Just to sort of like give it some sort of different texture colour. Yeah, are you still with me, or have I bored you shirtless? Then what I did was I used a darker red, using more of the brown in the red, and did the bottom bits darker, just so you've got that, and tried to blend the two into the middle. Yeah, it's taking its time. All the time I was not doing the edging, I was just trying to blend the two colours together just so it gives you the high points and the low points. Then after all that was done, I went back over with a light silver all along the edging. Yes, I told you this was my Bob Ross moment of fame, so it's long-winded to me because I'm usually just slapdash, but this is a different technique. I've never done this before, never tried to blend colours and that malarkey, so yeah, I do apologise if some people are bored, but some other people might like this sort of thing. But that's what I did. I then just highlighted all the silver again. Because I was getting bored with painting the tank, I moved on to the tracks and just dry brushed them silver just to bring out the wheels, which is easy peasy, my normal sort of level of painting. Then I was using another different brown just to paint each individual track. Yeah, basically. This probably took the longest, even though it was just one colour and just brown all the way around, but it brought out the tracks just nicely. Then it was time to stick the tracks to the tank, which I just used hot glue with a bit of super glue, and once they were done it was on to the next step. Oh yeah, there's one or two more steps just yet. Then it was time for another black wash all over the tank. Yeah, because I thought it was looking a bit too bright, so I needed to dull down the colours. So I trusted myself and just used a little watered down wash just to cover the tank. Now, Morrigan's Creations isn't the only one who has a texture palette. This is to get all the paint off your brush, and all I do is just random bits and pieces that I don't have anymore, that I don't need anymore. I just stuck them down on a tray, and I just use this to get all the excess paint off. You can either use that or just use normal kitchen roll, but I'd run out of kitchen roll, so I thought I'd just bring this out and show you what else I use. I used to use toilet roll, but yeah, sometimes it's a bit bad when you go to the toilet and there's no toilet roll because you realise you've used it for your dry brushing. So yeah, I'd kind of use this now. So then it was just basically a very dry brush of white all over the model, on just hitting the high points, and that was the Bob Ross technique done and dusted. My apologies to those who found the painting side of this build kind of boring, but I'm always trying to better myself, and painting is the one side that I seem to lack. So this was a challenge to me as well, because I wanted to try and do something totally different out of the bag. I think it's worked. So yeah, that's the end of the video. On to the glamour shots. If you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, share. Don't forget, check out the Patreon page. Less than a coffee a month. Let's try and get this community together, Terrain by Aaron community together. And until next time, keep scratching that build, everybody.